When it comes to backstroke, I think it's really common for people to get lost in the lane. You can't really see where you're going, so you have to trust your body. So let's break down the arms, the legs, and most importantly, the head position when it comes to good fluid backstroke. Getting good rotation with the arms is a really key component to backstroke swimming. We really want to have good shoulder roll. You'll see here as we slow down the video that my shoulder really pops out of the water as my arm comes out of the recovery stroke. And then you really want your hand to enter in with the pinky finger first. This is really important. So you see my pinky finger is the first thing to drop into the water. I'm really getting good rotation with the shoulders, the abs, keeping everything locked on, but my head is always straight. Again, with backstroke, this initial part of the catch is really, really key. So you really want to feel good strength in your armpit. Those lats are really going to engage. You're going to feel good power and strength in the forearms and the wrists, getting that rotation up so that you can pull through with such power out of that initial part of the stroke. You'll see my elbow is bent, but my wrist is always below my elbow, making sure I'm really still engaging those big lat muscles. This is really key when it comes to all swimming, but in particular the backstroke stroke. As you pull down with the arm, you're really going to focus on holding as much water as possible. As it gets in line with your head and your ribs, that's when you're going to really push down with as much power as possible so you can rotate back the other way, getting your next arm out of the stroke, pinky finger entering in first, and let's just get that good rotation up with the shoulders. Now, to get that rotation is probably going to feel very strange, so I want you to over-exaggerate it. A lot of people think they're making a lot of rotation, but when they watch themselves back on video, they notice they're actually really, really flat. So I really want you to over-exaggerate it. Feel like it's a super dramatic roll and really get used to getting as much movement as you can out of those shoulders, but always keeping your head as still as possible. Now let's focus on the legs. When it comes to backstroke kicking, I really want you to get a lot of power and strength, of course, out of those quads and hamstrings. But again, really important to lock on the lower abs and the hips. You really want to focus on not just getting the power and movement out of the quads, but really up in the glutes and the hip flexors. These are your big muscles, so this is what's going to drive a lot of the power in your backstroke kicking. So let's focus on some of the drills that are going to help you with your backstroke kick. One of my favorites is just simply backstroke kick on your back, arms up in streamlined position. You notice as I'm doing this backstroke kick that my knee is ever so slightly breaking the surface of the water, as is my foot, my ankle, my toes. You don't want them to come out of the water too far, and I notice this with a lot of younger swimmers. They get their legs right out of the water, and you're not going to get any power when your feet aren't in the water. Now, another thing I really want you to focus on is trying to keep your legs as straight as possible. I think it's really common for people to want to bend at the knee, but honestly, you really want to keep that power, keep that alignment, and keep your legs as straight as possible. If you can, I think a lot of flexibility in the ankles is really important to backstroke and freestyle kick. So I would encourage you to do a little bit of flexibility work on your ankles. That's really, really going to help. And now let's really try and focus our power and momentum on the kick up and the pull down. Trying to get as much speed as we can in the ankles and the legs. Obviously, the more speed we get, the faster we're going to go, but we really want to be holding water. So anytime our knees bend, that's when we're not getting that power and strength. So keeping the legs as straight as possible, lots of power and lots of resilience in those feet and those ankles, kicking with as much power as possible. The other tip I have for backstroke kick is keeping your kick in a small range of motion. You don't want one leg dropping dramatically deep in the water. You really want to keep that power in a short, tight range. This is really going to help, obviously, your core strength and your stability through the water. So keeping those legs in a really nice tight range, getting lots of power within that range, and keeping those abs locked on. Now let's turn our attention to the head position. And in all strokes, this is important, but I think, in my opinion, in backstroke, it's the most vital. Now, it's really hard sometimes to know where your head position is in the water, so I really want you to focus more so on where the eyes are looking. Now, you'll notice if your eyes are looking towards your feet, that your forehead is going to be quite far out of the water, and that's going to be the incorrect head position. What I want you to focus on is your eyes always should be looking directly above you. So if you're in an outdoor pool, you're looking straight up to the sky. If you're in an indoor pool, you're looking at what's directly on the ceiling right above you. Now, when you've got that, you'll notice that your chin is lifted nicely out of the water. Your head is flat and in line with your body as it would be if you were standing or lying down in bed. But as soon as you look towards your feet, it's going to impact your head position. It's going to be in the incorrect position. And when that happens, your hips are going to drop and it's really going to affect your backstroke. You're not going to swim as fast. It's going to be much, much harder for you. So really focus on keeping the hips up. And in order to do that, your chin has to be back quite far. Now, what I really love doing to really help you know if you're in the correct head position is putting a water bottle on your forehead. You'll see I've done a couple of drills here where I've got the water bottle on my forehead, which means that I've got my chin up nice and high, my head is level, it's in line with my body. That's the correct position you want to have. It's most likely going to feel foreign to some of you guys as you started out, but trust the process, practice this drill, having the correct head position, making sure your eyes are always looking directly above you. This is really going to impact the rest of your stroke. So when we nail this drill, it's really going to have a significant impact. So this is one of the most important things to focus on when it comes to backstroke swimming.